What is up, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we're doing a brand new episode of the United Mexican States. Go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and go ahead and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it to the channel. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into this episode. In the previous episode, essentially what we did is that we increased spending to education and health, and as well, I believe we did go after some spending increases to the research sector as well. We also did do a increase in the amount of multidisciplinary laboratories that we have in Mexico. So we did do a major spending project here in Mexico. I think about how much we spent was in between, I would say, like 200 to 300 billion dollars, US dollars. At least over $1 trillion pesos was spent in the previous episode. And we do see that our debt is still on its way down. We have 9.5 trillion pesos that is in our public debt. We have a treasury reserve of 2.03 trillion pesos. Let's go over here and see what we can do to pay off some of our debt. We could save the amount of money that we have and continue to spend it on projects, and I think that's what we could do, because I'm not necessarily trying to do any type of debt spending. I think because, I mean, we could pay off our like the United States or ourselves. We do spend over 100 billion pesos on interest alone for Mexico, so I think it could be wise for us to pay off some of our debt, but I don't think it's necessary right now, because I mean, we do have a pretty solid credit rating, a triple B, a triple A, a triple B, and a double A. So I think it's kind of okay. I mean, we could go for a couple of more infrastructure projects if we wanted to. Let's go ahead and open this up. Let's go over to infrastructure, and we do see that we have some areas that we can continue to build some rail lines. And we do see that southern Mexico is quite connected whenever it comes to interspeed rail. So let's go ahead and look. We could do Oaxaca over to Acapulco, or maybe up here, kind of like ride along the coast. I think what we could also do is connect Tijuana over to Chihuahua. Chihuahua will connect down to Torreon, and then Torreon will connect over to Monterrey. So Torreon could go over to Monterrey, and we do have a highway connection, so that would make a lot of sense to continue to keep that highway connection and then just have a direct line from city to city. Let's go ahead and go over here, and I guess we're gonna embark on that. That way we can get Tijuana connected over to the rest of Mexico. If we can get this area, that will be a huge tourist spot for us to embark on. So let's go ahead and see. And we do see that a 310 billion peso cost is added onto the project, and we have a 52-month timeline right here. So let's go ahead and try to fully fund this at 27 per kilometer, and that is still 17 months on how much that will cost. That is a very, very long project, even if we were to fully fund it, and we do have enough money to actually fully fund the entire project. So I think we're gonna hold off for right now, and then we're just gonna come over here. Let's go ahead and do the Monterrey, the Chihuahua line, and see how much that will cost. Actually, let's do Chihuahua all the way down to Torreon, and then let's see how much that will cost. So 725. Let's do 20 per kilometer at 388 billion pesos. And then we will connect Torreon over to Monterrey. And then we will fully fund this project. And we have 514 billion pesos is the total cost. At 8 months, 14,000 people will be involved in the project. Let's go ahead and get both of those projects underway. And then at the end of this quarter, we will go ahead and drop the 1.5 trillion pesos that we need to build the Tijuana Chihuahua line. We could also do a smaller line where we do Tijuana over to Hermosillo, Hermosillo, and then I think Hermosillo could go over to Chihuahua. But I think it would make a lot more sense if we did Tijuana to Chihuahua. That would make, I mean, we are bypassing some of the smaller cities. It would make a lot more sense for this type of connection. And then I think we can just build a highway over into this area right here that we have. That way we have a better connection overall. I think also we will do a high-speed rail line and a highway over to Juarez, which does connect over to El Paso. So this will be continuously developed, and we have a long way to go whenever it comes to transportation and how developed Mexico is. We will go ahead and do a increase in the funding here. We will do a 17-month project. Let's go ahead and do 1,257 billion. Let's do a $70 billion peso project here. And let's actually do 12, get that done in 6 months. We will do 778 kilometers in secondary highways. Let's go ahead and continue on that. And that will do a little bit of growth. That way we can get things going. Let's also do some additional funding to rail transport. 31 billion pesos will be added to the transportation budget. And then we have Chihuahua Torreon, waste of public funds. And they always say that. They always say that, but they don't really understand the plan that we have behind it. Let's check on our energy production, and we do see 319 surplus right there. So good. We don't really have to worry about electricity production whenever we need to spend more on power plants. So we don't really have to spend anything on energy for at least a couple of years, I guess, at this point. Immigration rates, it is on its way up, but still a long way to go. Illegal immigration is on its way up, and we do still want to try. So I think over here, if we go and look, we want to start, instead of doing the importation of workers in undermanned sectors, we want to do either the specific reinforcement and surveillance of the control of the Costa Rican border, or we can do the receiving and detention of immigrants in transit for asylum. So we want to try to accept these guys for asylum, but a lot of them keep rejecting it. So we want to try to get a couple of these guys, especially places like Venezuela, to accept the offer of asylum seekers, so that way we can actually start to legally accept these guys over into our country. Labor issues in certain sectors, we do not consider ourselves a country of transit for illegal immigration. And we are back. So the legislation on the regularization of illegal immigrants in Mexico has been passed. So that means that we just regularized 500,000 people and prevented them from being deported. That will reduce the strain on the system in the country and leaves us at 1.08 million people to be dealt with, either deported or they will be regularized. I will always try to make sure that they are regularized. But we do have a processing center infrastructure network now. So we do have almost 1,300 detention centers that are processing through new applicants and people that are crossing into the country illegally. And they will either be let go into the country or they will be deported back to where they came from. Most likely it is from places like Guatemala or even Venezuela. We also do see that a free trade agreement has been agreed to by the United Mexican States and the Commonwealth of Australia. Australia has now agreed to reduce our tariffs by 80% and has very light border control, compliance of security and health regulations imposed by the partner for incoming products, access to the member's public market, and a recognition of country of origin label by the partner. So that means that we are good on the diplomatic upbringing of joint Australian-Mexican relations. This is something that I did promise a couple of episodes ago. There was someone that said I should really focus on trying to increase relations with Australia, and that is something that I was trying to do, but there was a very like weird thing that was happening in Australia, like weird political crisis, I would say, is where like every couple of months there would be a new government in Australia. So they have constantly been having to call for new elections, everything like that, and it looks like that they have been in power for about 3 days. So we are good on trying to settle our differences with Australia and creating better relations with each other. So I really hope that this continues on. And the same thing actually did happen in the United Kingdom. So I think we could also propose a free trade agreement over to the United Kingdom and see if they will accept such an agreement. So let's go over here. Let's go over to the UK. And they are a part of the European Union. That is very unfortunate because usually they're a really good trading partner, but it does look like that they are a member of the EU. So unfortunately, actually, I do remember that. That was like way long ago. I remember making a meme about it actually. So let's actually look over at NATO real quick and see the membership here. Looks like that Bosnia and Herzegovina is a member, Ukraine is a member, as well as Finland and Sweden. As of the making of this episode, Hungary has finally agreed to, the Parliament of Hungary has actually finally agreed to allow NATO to admit Sweden. So Hungary was the last member of NATO to not approve it. And so as they now have approved it, Sweden is now yet to be officially admitted as a NATO member. Their flag has yet to be risen in Brussels, but the day that that does happen, which is going to be very soon, I am very excited to see that all of Europe will now be under one common flag, and that is going to be the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. I am very excited, and if you guys know me as a channel, I am very pro NATO, so I very much am happy to see that Sweden is now rightfully where she belongs, which is in the Western Alliance. So we do see immigration agreement is refused between us and Australia. I've been trying to offer them a immigration agreement so I can, or an immigration agreement where I can try to say that we can send workers over there to try to do a economic beneficiary immigration agreement and try to send over workers, and they continue to refuse it, so we will have to send that over to someone else. All right, and so we are back. It is June 7th, 2029. And so what I am noticing is that my immigration rate is actually on its way down continuously. And I'm still continuing to try to like get this on a reverse where it's going to go on its way up. And what we need to do is we are going to go over to Belize, and we see that Belize, we don't have a border wall with Belize, but we are going to allocate 134 miles or kilometers of border wall construction over to Belize. It says the construction of internal borders within areas of free movement, such as the Schengen area, is prohibited. In order to do this, you must first break the agreement with the area involved. Total cost of the finance treasury is 38.8 billion pesos, and 10,000 people will be involved in the project. It will take 2 months to build this wall. So the reason we are doing this is that if we go over to immigration, we go over here to the immigration info, we do see that illegal immigration is the top priority, or the top immigration rates out of Belize. Most people are still leaving through Guatemala. Let's actually see if the situation has changed. So it has actually dropped by 10% since the beginning of the game. So that is actually pretty good. And maybe our policies have had an effect on this. So let's go over here. They do not have any illegal immigrants, but most of their immigration is going to Mexico. So right now, return of nationals, including students at the end of their studies abroad, was 32, and then right now it is 72. So I think most of these are actually going to Mexico. I would say. So most of them are going to El Salvador, Mexico, the United States, Nicaragua, Honduras, and Somalia, and a handful of other countries, everything like that. So pretty interesting to see that this is actually the top rate right now. So 10% was illegal immigration in the beginning of the game, and then now illegal immigration has gone to 4.4%. So their situation has normalized, and their immigration rate is actually turned positive right now. So I wonder what Guatemala did in order to kind of get this in reverse. So let's go over here. Illegal immigrants had a pretty sizable jump right there. Let's go ahead and increase the amount of detention centers that we have, and we'll just go ahead and continue. I think we're going to shoot for about 5,000 of these facilities, and we are going to see what the reaction is to that. Usually it's kind of a little complex. 200,000 people are out in protest against our policy. Let's go ahead and continue on. We do have a meeting coming up on the 13th with the Prime Minister of Australia, and we will be signing a economic agreement with them in order to boost relations. So I will be looking forward to that.
Work has already begun. Basically, I don't know if this is a good idea because construction on this border is unlikely to be very conducive to lowering illegal immigration in this country. In my opinion, this is not a very well-traveled crossing point. Moreover, the size and length of the wall, when it's finally built, will really hinder illegal immigrants who want to cross this border.
All right, and we have this right here, contract number 116. We have chemicals, oil, wood, and maize that we are selling over to the Australians. This will be at 71.7 to 31.7 and 21.7 and 16.5. We will see the total amount on this contract in the next Monday's paper. We also did do some increase in financial aid over to Nicaragua and Honduras. So good to see that we are trying to continue with our pro-Central American policy. This is the third pope that has died in the last couple of years. They really gotta pick a younger dude right now. It's like the Soviet Union in the 80s where they kept losing their premiers. So that is not going to be something of significance. Even though we are a Catholic nation, we are kind of numb to the fact that a bunch of these popes keep dying. So I'm not really too worried about it right now. We are doing the inauguration of a multidisciplinary facility in looks like I think that was Sonora. I think that was Sonora is what that said. Nearly 16.9 billion. Let's go ahead and do 25 billion pesos as compensation for the wildfire. Good. And we'll go ahead and continue on. We'll see what happens. And we are back. The election of Pope Innocent the 14th has been announced, so we will not be too worried about that. Let's go ahead and check this guy again. We're just like kind of numb to all of these popes dying. I mean, like 72 years old. Come on. I swear to God, if this guy's health is really bad, 33, I think maybe he can last, I would say 2 years at most. Sexual identity, heterosexual, that's good. I guess we're not too worried about it. Wait, is he Russian? No, he was actually Dutch. So nothing too weird going on, except that Belgium really doesn't like me for some reason. Germany actually really likes me right now, so maybe we can go for some better relations with the Federal Republic. Olaf Scholz seems to be still in power in Germany, taking some type of example out of the reign of Angela Merkel. Let's go ahead and go to the month of July. A little bit off topic, but if you guys actually saw my community post, I got a RTX 4080 for free. So essentially, my girlfriend works for a company, and basically she didn't really know what it was, and so me and her had been talking about saying, hey, let's build you a computer, that way we can, Discord call, everything like that. Ever since we had been talking about that, she just so happened to say, oh, there's a computer part at my work. I got it. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, there's nothing to it. It's just the graphics card. Maybe it's maybe a 2050, 2060. I was thinking like very low level graphics card. No, whenever she brings it over and shows it to me, it's a freaking 4080. So I look at her and I'm like, hey, can I have this? She basically only plays like Stardew Valley, everything like that, maybe a little bit of League of Legends here and there. She ended up being like, yeah, I mean, you know, I only play these really low level games, so I don't mind you having it. So I now will be enjoying my video games with a 4080 installed in my computer. And obviously that's what love gets you, so I'm very happy to see that I finally have a 4080. She also got a very good motherboard, and it's a X690 or 670, something like that. You guys are familiar with motherboards and computer lingo, everything like that. This one is actually Wi-Fi 6 ready just right out of the box, so I'm very excited to try all of this out. The only thing that kind of sucks about the motherboard is that I have to upgrade my processor, so I have to get a Intel processor for that, because it is an LGA 1700 type motherboard. So unfortunately I have to upgrade my CPU, but I'm not too like I guess excited about Intel, because I've used Ryzen products ever since I built my own computer back in 2018. Since I've been doing YouTube, at least since 2016. I had my own computer in 2016, built my own in 2018, and after 2018, I've always used Ryzen. I had like a Ryzen 2600 right out of the gate, and then I upgraded to I think it was a 2700X, and then I upgraded to a 3700X, and I've had a 3700X ever since then. So since I had a 3700X, I really haven't upgraded the CPU since then. It's actually water cooled, and then so this once I get the Intel CPU, it will be the first time that I have used a Intel CPU since a very long time ago. Let's go ahead and max out the Caillou vote right here, but ruled by Panama. Very interesting to see Panama contributing itself to the Caillou. Democratic Party, set in against the government's xenophobic attitude, agent infiltrated. Let's go ahead and say yes to taking it down.
Coupled with the Brown model on group psychotectonics.
Shiites. Let's say no, and we will see. We have a sit-in right now. I did max out the budget allocations for fight against illegal immigration and border surveillance and Coast Guard. I did max out those budget operations. We will go ahead and send in the police to take out the sit-in messenger right here, and 0.16% in our little 0.16% is our new interest rates, and we have a meeting with Djibouti. I will say no to that meeting, and then police charge. The sit-in is now over. So let's go ahead and end this episode. Guys, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it to the channel. I'm really excited to see where this goes. We still have a lot of work to do as Mexico in the next term. We have 1 year, or about 3 to 4 episodes left, until the next federal election in Mexico. So I'm very excited to see who is going to be taking the reins. We will not be changing the Constitution of Mexico in order to have Sheinbaum run for another term. It is a very big political taboo for us to even try that realistically. So I will be continuing to keep with Mexican traditions, and we will not be changing the Constitution in order to have a second Sheinbaum presidency. So we will allow one of the 3D characters, one of the regular characters, to run in this next election, and that person should be right over here. That will be Natalia Oxoa. Gonna have to figure out how to say that name. This is going to be our next presidential candidate, should be, unless someone else runs against her and ends up winning the primaries. All right, and just before we go, we do see that the Mexican and Australian heads of state sign a historic economic contract between the two countries for a total of 142 billion pesos. And we will go ahead and end it off right here. Guys, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon, same name as anything whenever I do make it. I have 1 year until the presidential elections. We will not be changing the Constitution to allow Sheinbaum to run for another term. That is a big Mexican taboo that we will not be crossing in this series, so I will allow the next candidate to run, which should be Natalia Ochoa. If I'm saying that name wrong, I obviously am saying that name wrong. Someone can correct me. Thank you. But yeah, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Very excited to see where else this series takes me. And I do not have any news on the 2024 edition. However, Eversim did email me saying that development is underway and they do not have a release date yet. That is the only news that I do have on the 2024 edition or GPS 5. I actually emailed them again asking, hey, can you clarify, is it going to be GPS 5 or is it going to be the 2024 edition? My bet is going to be the 2024 edition, so I do look forward to that. I will make a video as soon as I have any news on the 2024 or GPS 5, and I'll let you guys know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.